welcome to the Demystifying series, where we ask students about their experiences and answer some of your questions about certain majors and/or programs. Today, we will be talking about how to earn a physical therapy doctoral degree.
I'm Elise. I'm a kinesiology major going into physical therapy school. I go to the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and I'm a senior. For the most part, PT school you apply through PTCAS, the Physical Therapy Central Application System. So it works kind of similar to Common App, like for undergrad. So you can apply to like more than one school on one system, and you do like your supplemental essays and your different things for each school, but it's kind of all in one place. So every school does it a little bit differently. It just depends on where you're applying. And sometimes that's something that you should consider, like when you're applying to schools, like which schools you're applying to and what they require. You do things like put in your GPA, all the courses you've taken, all of your hours for shadowing and observing and all that kind of thing, your GRE scores and all that good stuff. You have to put all that in there. And then so for UAB, you get accepted into an interview stage. So then you would go in and you do interviews, and then you find out if you're accepted. So I know for UAB, the interview stage is a very, very big part of the application process. That's something they really emphasize, but not every school does. Some other schools are more into the essay portion or more into just numbers, like how well you've done in school. So it really just depends on what you're looking for and how you match with the school that you're applying for. So depending on when you're going to be going to school depends on like when you start submitting your applications for different schools. So they open pretty much a year before. So like if you're a senior, you would be applying the summer before your senior year for the next year. The way UAB has it structured is it covers all of your prerequisites for PT school. So I think different schools have different prerequisites and they have different names for different classes, but overall, like you have to do your biologies and your chemistries and your physics classes and your math classes and all that kind of stuff before you can apply to PT school. The other thing to consider with PT school, I know for at least in Alabama, I don't know, because I applied to UAB, so that's where what most of my information comes from. But I do know that it's the same with undergrad. I mean, it's more expensive to go out of state. In order to be you have to be a licensed physical therapy school because it's a doctoral program. So they have to be accredited in order for you to get a license. So as a PT, you have a license that allows you to practice in your state. Going to school in a state at a school that's not accredited, you cannot take the licensure exam. So you would not be able to get a license to practice. So you would have done all that work for nothing. It never hurts to have a good score on the ACT. That's for sure. Never hurts, but it's not necessarily for applying to PT school, because that's not going to be on your application. They're going to look at your GRE score, which is another standardized test that you take at the end of your undergrad or during your undergrad at some point. So it's good to have a good GPA, and it's good to have a good GRE score, and it's good to have good volunteer experience and good shadowing experience. So the earlier that you can start those things just to get practice, the better. So like if being in high school, go ahead and start shadowing at some physical therapy clinics just to get your name in, so people know who you are. So when you're in college, you can move around a little bit easier. And so you can kind of get the feel for what you need to do when you're in college, because you need people to write recommendations for you. So if you form relationships early, it's going to make your life a little bit easier, because you're going to be acquiring relationships at an earlier time, so they know you better, they can write better recommendations. Shadowing and observing for sure are good to start in high school, and having good grades and good study habits and things like that. Taking courses that will help you in the long run. Like, go ahead and take a chemistry class, go ahead and take a physics class, go ahead and take biology classes, which a lot of those are required in schools anyway, but to go ahead and know that you're going to be taking those classes again in college, and learn as much as you can, because it will only help you when you're studying in college to already know some stuff, because it just lessens your load. The main challenge I face is just balancing your school and your life. I mean, I know that's cliche to say, and everyone, says like a work-life balance, but it really can be difficult in college sometimes, especially if you're balancing applications and your grades and your job potentially, or your social life. Things like that are hard to balance, and it's important to maintain that balance, because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So spend too much time in one area, you might be hurting yourself in another aspect. So it's good to study and it's good to work as hard as you can, but you do need a break at some point, because you don't want to burn yourself out on studying, because you will be studying for a long time in this path. So it's good to know when you need to take a break. In the physical therapy, of course, I enjoy the the anatomies and any kind of movement study classes or anything like that. But one class I particularly enjoyed, which is actually not required for PT school or for my undergrad degree, like prereq or just graduation from undergrad, was a dissection course on human cadavers. That was a lot of fun, and it was one of those things that, in PT school you do have to dissect human cadavers, so I kind of viewed that as like my introduction, my early introduction to that part of grad school. So it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in that class, and I really liked the professor and all the classmates we had, because it was a small class. There was only like 9 or 10 of us. So it was definitely a lot of fun. Highly recommend doing something like that if you have the opportunity. So I'm a kinesiology major, so my overall goal right now is to go to PT school and get through PT school. And beyond that, it's a little bit open-ended, because there's so many things that you can do with physical therapy degree and a doctorate degree in that. You can do residencies and fellowships to specialize in different areas, and I haven't seen them all, so I can't claim one as like the one I want to do. I do know that I'm primarily interested in inpatient physical therapy from what I have seen. So really, that's my goal right now, is just to do well in school and maybe be an inpatient physical therapist in some kind of setting one day. But it's good to be a little open-ended, because you never know what you're going to learn. So, you don't want to set your goals super narrow for yourself, because it might change.